Hi and welcome to Payroll Management System developed using PHP, CSS and HTML. Now let me show you guys how this works. And in here are the details of one of the workers. Okay, and in here we can see the pay reference number, the company she is working for, the date. Then here we have the wages and so on. Supposing we change these inner city wages to something else. So if I click on that and just let's make it maybe 500 plus, and what about her basic wage, and just increase that as well, and the overtime, let's say about 200 plus. All we just need to do is to click on submit. So let's say we click on submit. There you can see the details of her information with regards to the wages. Everything has changed. Okay, now, and the other changes that you guys would have noticed is the tax that's meant to be paid, that's tax up to date, student loan up to date, the current payment for the student loan, pension up to date, and so on. Okay, and you will notice all the deduction here. So let me just increase this one more time. Let's get rid of that and make it about 3,904. Okay, so let's take note of the net pay, deduction, and the gross pay. So click on that. You can see those changes as taking effect as well. So what I'm going to do now is I will now start a new project on Notepad++ where we can put one of these together. So let's do that now, guys. Okay guys, and welcome back to Notepad++. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go straight to the language in here, and I will then select P to select PHP there. So let's start by defining the following HTML tag. There we go. Now I'm going to go to file and let's just save this before we go any further. So right in there, I'm just going to call this payroll. Let's put an S, payrolls. So save that there. And the title of for my payroll is known as Payroll Management System. The next thing I'd like to do is I'm going to define my CSS. So let's say style. Just going to enter that here, the style, and that is going to be type equals, so that would be just for the style of maybe font and whatever modification I want on my system, that will appear right there. Okay, now that is done, so I'm going to close that very style here. There, the choice is yours. You can always create this your CSS, which is also known as cascading style sheet. You can save that on a separate page entirely. The choice is yours. What I want to do next is to define the, okay, I already have the body there, so but I'm just going to enter the color, the back color. So let's come right in here and just enter, let's say BG. That stands for color, which you guys already know anyway. BG equals, we're not going to be spending much time on that, so let's make it something grayish. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that is done. So let's enter our heading there. So I'm going to say center. You can also enter all of that inside your CSS, but I just want to do that here. So let's say image, enter my image, and that is going to be called something to do with channel underscore. Now I have my image in place, and I also have an underline here. Okay, and I also have a table in there, and the style that I'm going to be using is style number 1, which is not yet defined there, and the table is actually inside the div. So let's close that up. So in here I'm going to enter all of the style I intend to use right there. Those are the styles. You can always make yours up. If you don't understand this style, go on the internet. You can find out about different fonts, how to set borders and so on, or you can also use this very good package there online called Bootstrap. So those are the styles I intend to use. So have a good look at them. You can change it to whatever you want there. Okay, now let's create our table. Right inside the table I'm going to enter a row, and in there there's going to be a data type. Then this very row, I might as well just close it up so that I don't forget. And I'm also going to close that very data here. So most of the design of this payroll management system is going to be inside the table now. So right in here, the very first data is going to be that of employee's name. Okay, let's move that up. That will be the very first data. There we go. And I'm now going to add input. So this input is also going to be inside. That will be input, and this input is going to be what? Okay, we now have our input there, and that's the name. So I'm just going to save it. Make sure it's saved. Alright, let's enter the second column. So in here is also going to be, that will also be inside the table row there. That is it. The postcode, which I expect to be on the same side by side with the name. So I'm going to save that. Let's see how it all looks like. I'm going to come in here now, and let's just maybe copy this address here. Come right in here, paste it in there, and just change the name. There we go. And that's it. Employee name and the postcode. So let's go back to our interface design. So now that is done, I'm just going to copy all of this and paste it right underneath, and we'll start changing things around. There we go. Save and go back in here, refresh. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen. Okay, so back in here and repeat exactly the same thing. So I'm going to sort of like speed up the whole process of that, then get back to you guys shortly. Okay guys, I've finished with the design of the interface, but let me point out something to you guys. You see, I now have a form in there, and inside the form the method is going to be post, the action is going to be PHP. So that's why I entered that in there, and here is my very first table and up to here. So have a good look at my table. That is my very first table. Just have, this is just an ordinary comment here. So for the next table, so have a good look at the next table right underneath, and that's to do with the reference, employer, and the employer's address. And there's another table again. In there we have the tax period, tax code, and payday. And there's another one here that has details of the payment, including student loan right there. Take it down, and the NI number there. And here, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that comment. And here there's another table right underneath there where I have the NI paid, taxable, and pensionable pay. And I then have the gross pay, deduction, and net pay. Okay, now come right down here. That's just a note if you want to add any note. And finally I have my buttons there, the submission button and the reset button. That's it. So that's all there is to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to use PHP to carry out some calculation. So I'm going to start by going right up here. You can always do that on another page, but I prefer to do it here. So I'm going to say PHP, close that, just defining my tag in there. So all of the calculation will be right here, but one thing first, let me save that and show you guys how the whole project looks like. So if we come right in here, there we go, that's how it looks like. Refresh. So if I click on these buttons, there's nothing happening right now. Nothing is happening. Okay, you can enter whatever you want in there. Okay, you can reset, but not that's all you can do. Alright, so let's go back into our project. So right here we're going to start by, okay, I'm going to say extract, so let's get rid of that. And right here let's say extract, and that is going to be as, let's use function post and close that, then semicolon there. Now I'm going to use an if statement. If is set, so that is going to be inside. Okay, let's say if it's set, and my variable there that I'm going to call is going to be the odd that is on top or inside the submit button. That's the name of the submit button. If I come right down here, where that is it right here, I'm actually addressing my submit button there. So if the submit button is clicked on, I want the following in here to take place. So I'm going to open up a curly braces and close that very curly braces here. Now let's define all of the variables I intend to use. The first variable is that will store everything is called the gross pay. Now after the gross pay, I want you to add the inner wages for me, which is just the extra pay that extra money you make for working in the city. Now the basic pay, I want to add that together. Basic pay, basic salary I called it. There we go. So the basic salary is actually a variable inside my basic input. Now overtime, and overtime, let's say overtime right there, then enter your semicolon. Now the gross pay, inner city pay, basic pay, and so on, there they are right here. Let's come right down here. I have inner city wages, and here are the variables, the names that I'm calling. The basic pay and the gross pay will be somewhere down here. There we go. Those are what I'm just calling right now. And the net pay, I'm going to be calling the net pay soon. Okay, so if you, let's save that. Nothing is going to happen right now though. Okay, let's take it back up there. So the next thing I want to enter, that would be the next variable that I'm going to define. That would be for the tax. Let's come right down to add up all of the tax. So for the tax, let's say no, that's wrong. Taxable pay equals, in a bracket, that would be the gross pay. Let's multiply that by, okay, you're paying 9% of your salary, divide that by 100. There, that's for the taxable. Okay, I can call these ones now. So let's go inside where I have gross pay and taxable and just call these two so that you guys can see how it works. But right now, if I show you the whole program, there's nothing happening. That's it right there. There's nothing happening. Refresh, enter whatever value you want in there, nothing is going to happen. Click on submit, that's it, all gone. Okay, minimize that. Now let's come right down in here where I have total, the gross pay and the taxable. So come right down here, we want the gross pay. Here, that's the taxable. Okay, and okay, right inside the taxable, I'm going to come in here and let's say enter. This is how you go about that. You say value equals, let's add a speech mark, and that is going to be PHP. Okay, and let's close that off. So in here now I'm going to use echo, and what is the value that I intend to call? I want to call this one that variable, because it's already a variable, so you must enter the $sign. You must enter the $sign to confirm that is already a variable. Okay, so that's why I'm entering the $sign, which means I'm calling the variable that I have up here, this one, the tax. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's fine. So I've just called that variable. So where is it? Right here. Now I might as well just finish up with this. So let's ask it to set focus. Yeah, set focus equals this and dot value. We're not going to be entering anything there though, but just in case, so close that off, and in here as well. There. So that means whatever I have in there will be displayed in here. Okay, let's copy all of this. I'm gonna copy that and let's come right here to the gross pay here. Get rid of that, press enter and paste that in there. The only thing I have to change in here, if you guys can take a guess, that is the variable. So come right down here and change the variable. There, that's all done. We can save that and let's go to our interface and verify that. There we go. So I can enter whatever you have in for your London within, and in here let's say your basic salary is that, and overtime work for that month. There. All I then need to do is, if I click on submit, we expect taxable income to be displayed and the gross pay display as well. There we go. 1, 2 displayed. Okay, this is all gone. We don't want it like that, do we? No. So I want to go back in here. We need to add some pound sign to that. So let's come right here and just add a pound sign. So where is the taxable? Okay, here let's add a pound sign there, and I'm going to also add a pound sign inside the taxable here. Save that, come right here, we can refresh that, there we go, get the pound sign. So that is that done. Now let's go back to our codes. I will now come up here now and then just speed up the rest of the PHP calculation. So the next one that I'm going to have a look at now, let's have a look at the pensionable. Okay, as for the pensionable, all I just need to do is in there, that will be the pound sign, and that is pensionable. So double click on that, equals, just copy all of this and paste it there. That is for the pension. Depend on how much you want to, they're going to deduct for your pension. So I'm going to make that 5.5. Now what about the student loan? Pay back your student loan. Let's say student loan, there we go, equals, paste that, and let's assume you're paying about maybe 2.5% of your wages. And what about your national insurance payment, NI payment? There we go. And that is equals, let's assume, how much is that as well? 2.5. Okay, let's say 2.3. That's what you're paying. Now that all of that is done, let's take care of the deduction. There we go. Variable deduction equals, I'm now going to add up all of these, paste that there, plus this, because those are taken out of your wages, and student loan, and your national insurance number, there, semicolon. So those are all taken out. Now that we know the deductions, we can now find out how much you're going to get paid, which is the net pay. So that's meant to be a variable as well. Let's create a variable there. With the dollar sign means it's a variable. Now, to get that, the gross pay, and you take away the deduction, that will give you your overall pay. There we go, right there. So if I run the program again, let's see what's going to happen. Let's come up here and enter whatever in here. Let's say you have an overtime of that, and maybe this is your wages. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. Submit. Oh, nothing will happen because I haven't entered the deduction. I meant to call deduction a net pay. Alright, so let's go back in here. Scroll right down. I was meant to call 1, 2. In fact, I meant to call all of this, pension and so on. So scroll right down. Let's see, net pay. Just want to copy these to call the net pay. Oh, there's deduction there as well. Let's call that, delete that, paste that in there, and call deduction. Copy, no, first thing first, paste that as well for net pay, and just change the variables around. Now copy that, paste that in there, changed, net pay, copy, change that in there, and now I'm going to copy these. Now taxable, I think we have taxable. Yes, we do have taxable. We have taxable, student loan, and NI. So this is taxable. Paste. For pensionable, I mean not taxable, sorry about that. Copy that and change that here. Taxable is already taken care of. Now let's take care of NI payment. Paste. So all I'm just doing is attaching the PHP calculation to each of the components. I think I have student loan. Now copy that, come right here where we have the student loan. This will give an error, delete that, delete this for student loan, press enter, paste and change this to student loan. There, save that. Let's go to our browser now. Right there inside our browser, I'm now going to enter whatever in there and there. So click on submit and let's see what's going to happen. Submit. There we go. Look at that, guys. So all of those information are now displayed. Let's do that again because I entered focus in there. Okay, submit. There, you see that? Okay, but one thing is, when I click on submit, all of the content in here disappears, and I don't want that. Okay, the only one is if I click on focus for other students, then things can happen. Okay, all right, so let's go back to our program. So the next thing I want to do now is right here where the calculation is as well, and I want to assign what belongs to who. Okay, inner city, I want it to be displayed. The basic pay, I want it to be displayed as well. Okay, so we have them in there. I'm going to copy this. I just want it to be displayed inside equals inner city so that it doesn't get deleted anymore. Basic pay and the overtime as well. Copy both. Alright, basic pay, and just change this to equals basic pay, and we have overtime. Equals, we need $sign here. There we go. So that's taken care of. Now that all of that is done, what about overtime? Yeah, overtime is there. Okay, reference number. So I'm going to come right down here and just create a variable for reference number. Let's say reference. There we go, reference number. In that case, I'm going to use the function random. Okay, we do have a function called random inside PHP as well, so I'm going to make that up. I want you to generate some value between 1000, let's say 1200, and comma, let's say how many millions. So I'm just going to leave that like that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So the system will randomly generate something there. Okay, so that is that taken care of. What else do we want? Employee. For the employee, I'm going to make up something. Employee, I need the employee address. Yeah, that's one. I need another one. That would be employer. There we go. Employer equals, let's just make that up. I'm going to say DJ Roman Aviation. Let's put, yeah, close that up here, and there. That is the aviation. What about the address? And we'll come in here and say address. That's employee address equals, I'm just going to make that up. I say number 1, Godson. Godson, close. There, that's the address. Let's make up something else for the postcode. Alright, that's postcode, comma, and let's say London, semicolon. Okay, tax. taxable, that is meant to be the tax period. Tax period, that's just the date. So in the case of the tax period, I'm going to use function date there, and now we enter. You see, if we enter D, okay, that we are talking of the day, but I want the month. In that case, I'm going to enter M day, so that will just display just the month. What about pension? So total pension paid up to date, I would like that to be multiplied by the tax period. This is August, so 8 multiplied by whatever tax you've paid so far. So let's come down here, now we'll say pension equals tax period, multiply that by taxable. Here, where's it? Taxable, that's total tax that you paid so far there. And the next one is going to be, that's total pension paid so far, sorry. So let's do one for tax as well. Overall tax paid so far, that is going to be tax period multiply by taxable. Where is it? Taxable, copy that, and there, that is the tax done. Now I need the date. I'm going to come down here, that is going to be payday equals use function day, which is already defined for you, and you just need to enter hyphen day slash, that should be one hyphen there, just one. The next is going to be M slash Y, and close that. Okay, take note of that, it's not the speech mark, is just an hyphen. Alright, done. Now finally we want the student, the total student loan you've paid so far this year. That's it. It's using the reference tag equals, that'll be student loan multiplied by, that'll be tax period, so that'll give you the total, and that's all there is to it. There, all of the calculations are taken care of, so all that is left for me to do now is to call each of these in their respective area. So let's go to reference, so come right down, reference number. So I'm going to copy one of these, just copy this and start changing it all around. Let's look for reference, that might be right up here somewhere. Reference, there we go. Come right down, paste and change the variable to reference. There, done. The next one is going to be employer. There we also need the employer address, so come in here, employer address, change that as well, and change this as well. There we go. Now I'm going to copy that again. No, we need to get rid of this, else there will be an error. Okay, because that is where I've closed it all up. Okay, now copy this. Now let's come right down, tax period, paste, get rid of this, tax period. Okay, tax code, no, date, we have for date as well, paste that in there. Tax code, we're going to have to enter something in there, get rid of this. So for tax code, that means we must enter something, but first thing first, let's take care of this ones. Copy that and change this around. There we go, change this as well. So I'm now calling all of the variables that were used. As for tax code, let's enter this function in there that say required. So if you click on calculate or submit without entering any tax code in there, the system will refuse you entrance. So let's copy this again. Now let's look for the other inputs to enter that. Yeah, I don't think we have to enter something in there. That's city, inner city wages. Copy that and paste. Get rid of this. Okay, come in here. Tax to date. Yep. Pension to date. Yep. Basic salary. Student to date. Yeah. And tax code. No. Alright, so let's get rid of this. No, do that. We meant to get rid of this. And this as well. Okay, let's call the right variable. Inner city is correct. Here we need to call tax. The variable we are addressing here is tax. The variable here is going to be for pension. The next one is the basic pay. Okay. And the next one, student reference. There. And I believe that's all there is to it. What about overtime? We've called overtime? No, we haven't. So copy all of this again. Overtime. Student loan is already called. NI number. No, it's not called. There, student loan called. Overtime. Get rid of that. Changes to overtime. Okay, the reason why I am entering all of these values in here and calling their variables so that we can see whatever amount we enter on each of those input box. Right, and that's all there is to it. And finally, let me show you the reference in there. I've also called just the net pay and just added some stuff in there because I have a text area here, so I just want something to be displayed. Okay, now let's run the program and see. Let's go to the browser. That is the browser here. Okay, so I'm now going to, if I click on submit without entering anything here, there will be an error, and that is the purpose of the require function. So if I click on submit, okay, all of those are shown, but we need to enter some value in there. That's why we didn't have anything in here. So okay, now let's come in here and enter as follows. Okay, name. Let's enter Peter Parker. An address of Parker 76 Waters Lane. Mail and tax code. Let's make that up. The date is there and how much is it earning for London waiting. And here basic pay, let's say it's around 2,000 plus. Overtime, and that's it. Now we need NI code, NI number. Okay, all we then need to do is to work all of these out. Just click on submit there. Okay guys, so with that I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoy it. Bye for now.